15 weeks done, 2 weeks left. The Saints manhandle the Colts. That really wasn't a shocker. But what a performance from Saints quarterback Drew Brees. We talked in the little 2-minute stub on the way in about the record that has been broken, the latest record. Actually, 2 last night, 2 for the price of 1 if you watched the game.
Yeah, right.
1 record, an all-timer, 540 touchdown passes. He finished with 541, beating Peyton Manning's record of 539. And single-game completion percentage record by connecting on 29 of 30 passes. A very memorable night for Drew Brees in what could be, I'm not saying will be, is, maybe, whatever, could have been his final regular season home game in the NFL, although based on how he played last night, I would not be packing it in after this season if I were Drew Brees.
Well, no, that's what with Drew Brees, Tom Brady, you both look at him, and what Brees did last night was amazing, but yeah, they're probably sitting there going, yeah, I'm getting old, but man, I can still do some special things on the field. And why would I want to leave now? The team is so awesome around me, too. So it's all set up for success that way. But either way, Drew Brees, the accuracy, the athleticism still at 40, the ability to make some blitzers miss and do that, make throws on the run was all amazing. And truly, to break the record the way he did with it just is kind of the way they've always done it, Sean Payton, Drew Brees. Just obliteration, dissection, accuracy, a blitz of formations and personnels. And, oh, yeah, we're going to throw it to Michael Thomas, but it doesn't really matter that you know it. We're just going to keep throwing it to him, and he'll have a bunch of catches. It spoke to everything the Saints and Drew Brees have been through this era. And it was, even though it was a blowout, it was kind of fun to watch because I kept going, man, keep throwing it. Let's see if he can go 39 for 40. Let's keep it going. It was truly great. Greatness at its best.
He said after the game that he'll be haunted by the one that he didn't connect on, but 29 of 30, still pretty darn good. And he's got 22 straight completions. He only needs like 4 more to set the all-time record for consecutive completions across multiple games. We'll see whether he can do that on Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. Let me ask you this, Chris.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of quarterbacks currently due to be free agents in March, including Brees and Brady. Of the two,
right?
If both were ready to play next year, of the two, which one would you want heading into 2020?
Oh, my gosh. That's a really great question. Okay, I would say this. They both have, when I look at them, and I just see their flaws, right? They're still really good. They both, of course, can win you a Super Bowl the way they're playing right now. I would say if there's a flaw to Tom Brady, a little bit of the jumpiness in the pocket at times, right, and rightly so. The protection's not been good. If there's a flaw to Drew Brees, it's his ability to be explosive in the passing game, and push the ball down the field and really get the top-tier defenses to back off. And that's the thing I worry about with the Saints going forward. But I think I would probably still take Brady. It's really close, but I think I would take Brady. I just think the way Brady still, his size, his ability to still throw rockets all over the field and all of that, I would lean on him just a little bit more than Drew Brees. I think he opens up the field a little bit more than Brees does.
I would have said that before last night, but watching that game last night, and I don't know if it was the confluence of, the record he was about to set, the 10-year anniversary of the Super Bowl 44 championship, all of his old teammates there, emphasis on old when we saw the shots of some of the guys on the sideline. Then you realize the guy who was the quarterback of that team is still playing. So maybe he was just feeling spry last night. Grandma, are you spry? Maybe he was feeling spry. But it occurred to me the way I saw him dodging the blitzer on that one play where he just kind of squirted out. I said, hey, Drew Brees is playing better than Tom Brady right now. I think I'd want to see what happens the rest of the way before I make my budgetary decisions for 2020 about which quarterback I want to pursue. But I feel a lot better about Drew Brees now than I do right now than I do about Tom Brady.
Yeah, well, I hear you. I get it. And like I said, it is close. I do think, like to your point with Brees, his mobility and ability to dodge people is probably better than Brady's at this point. Now, the other thing, too, we got to take into account is just the support around him. He's arguably got the best receiver in football. he's definitely behind one of the 1 or 2, 3 best offensive lines in football. He's got Taysom Hill. He's got a really good tight end. Of course, a great play caller. So I think all of those, and then yes, I mean it's easy to fall into the trap of last night, which was just dissection. I mean, come on. It was like the perfect storm. The Saints were on fire. The Colts were kind of like blah. And the Colts, to speak about them for a second, they just got no difference makers. They got, what on their team is there to stand on right now to go, ooh, that's the guy that's going to make a play. Ooh, that's the superstar on the defense. Who's the best player on their defense? Who's another guy not named Darius Leonard that sticks out to you in the Colts? So I think it was all just a perfect storm. And then just how many times do you see Sean Payton create matchups to where you go, well, there's a safety covering the best receiver in football for the 3rd time this half. How does that happen? I don't know. But that's just the greatness of both of them. And I hear you, though, Mike. It's close. It's very close.
The record, too, the passing touchdown number 540, that was a Sean Payton play. That wasn't a Drew Brees play.
No doubt.
Sean Payton designed a play that sprung Josh Hill wide open. Easy throw. You or I could have made it. Even I could have made it to get number 540, although it's number 1 through 539 I would have had a problem with. And here's the other part of it, too. Because Sean Payton was asked what that record means after the game, and he said, what means a lot is winning. Yeah. We're trying to win here. It's not about the records. We'll all ride off into the sunset at some point, and that'll be nice then. And he also pointed out something very important. This is going to be a fluid record. Now, I don't know that it's going to be back and forth because I think Drew Brees is going to reestablish a gap.
I agree.
The gap that he had before he missed 5 games earlier this year with that thumb injury. But the reality is, whichever of the 2 guys between Brees and Brady plays that extra year in comparison to the other guy, that's the guy who's going to end up with the record.
It definitely seems that way. I mean, I think we're going to go into this offseason, definitely with Brees having the record. The way their offense is playing and rolling, I would figure he continues to put up pretty good stats here the last 2 weeks of the season where, hey, Brady – again, yes, they won 34.
Brady ain't throwing 5 against the Bills on Saturday.
No, there's no way.
That.
Exactly right. There's no way. Well, I mean, even the way the game went against Cincinnati, what was the final score the other day? 34-13? Am I right about that? 34-10,
yes.
Whatever it was. And we sat there together and watched the games. It was Strugglesville for that offense. It wasn't pretty. The defense set them up a lot. So I think the Saints and where Drew Brees are at on that side of the ball leaves them certainly in a more comfortable position to kind of explode these next 2 weeks offensively as compared to Brady and the Pats.
Yeah, and look, the Saints, the big news is they win, and they're in that cluster of teams in the NFC. 4 teams at 11-3. One of those teams is going to be 13-3 and be the 1 seed.
Crazy.
And, there's all sorts of different permutations, and obviously between the 49ers and the Seahawks, only one of those 3 or one of those 2 is going to win one of the 3 divisions that will have an 11-3 or better champion right now based upon where things currently stand. But, look, if the Saints end up with a 1 seed,
it's tough.
Right, and hey, the Seahawks come to town, the 49ers come to town, the Packers come to town. I think the Packers are the one team that stands out to me of the 4 teams that are 11-3 that doesn't feel like it belongs. But that may work to their advantage in the playoffs because teams may overlook them and just think, oh, this is neat. Look what happened to them against the 49ers. This is going to be easy. I'd be very leery of the Packers when we get to that Final 4 in the NFC if those 4 11-3 teams as of right now are left.
I don't disagree for 2 reasons with your thought on the Packers because I'm with you, Mike, all the way on that. I think they're the lesser of the 4 teams. But as far as playoffs are concerned, they have 3 things I like. They have a running back and a running game that's good, not great. They have number 12 at quarterback, and we know what he can do in certain situations or big games or anything like that with Rodgers. And then the other thing I like about them, just as far as playoff football, Mike Pettin is an outside-the-box thinker on the defensive side of the ball as a defensive coordinator. He'll do some stuff that defenses are just not going to be ready for in a playoff scenario, too. So there'll be some game plan-specific stuff he'll throw at teams that's going to be a curveball. He's not afraid to take a chance or take this guy away or do something somewhat absurd as far as X's and O's to where, they're dangerous. I just don't know if the quality – I still look at it like, and I don't know how you are. I look at it still as the Saints and the 49ers are a notch above than the Seahawks, who are then a notch just above than the Packers in that top 4.
I don't disagree with that, but the 49ers are going to have to win in Seattle
they are.
to avoid having to play in the wild card round. So the best team in the NFC may have the most difficult path of any of those teams that are currently 11-3. But look, the Saints had the 1 seed last year, and it ultimately didn't work out, due in part to that horrific non-call of pass interference. But I'm so impressed by the Saints' ability to reset this year.
Yeah.
To forget about what happened last year, to forget about what happened against Minnesota the year before that. And
what happened to Atlanta this year after the bye week, right? We kind of thought they went through a lull this season. They kind of took off from there again, too.
And 34-7 last night, we were talking about this yesterday. The Saints really hadn't blown anybody out in a while.
Right.
They haven't they've been screwing around with inferior opponents when they get one of those games. And now they have the Colts walk in. The Colts were still alive last night. They weren't done. They were done.
They're done now.
Into the game. They're done now.
Yeah.
We can leave them out of all the permutations in the AFC. That makes life a little bit easier. But look, it was a huge win for the Saints and a great night for Drew Brees. And it just makes me wonder, watching him last night, because I thought I would have gone into last night thinking there's a good chance this is his last year. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't have an expiration date. And I think that makes it possible, even more possible, that any given year will be the last year. But my gosh, what I saw last night, I hope he keeps playing. I hope that we see more Drew Brees next year, maybe even the year after. He's not even 41 yet. Tom Brady's doing it at 42.
Right.
And Brees has kept himself in great shape. He's highly competitive.
Definitely.
And if he stays with Sean Payton, I think he can keep doing a lot of the things that we've seen over the last 14 years.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. And when you play like that and have a season that they're having and he's having, it's just hard to walk away as a competitor, to go, no matter what happens this year, whether they win the Super Bowl or lose the divisional playoff game, it doesn't matter. He's going to walk off the field this year going, we're going to have a chance to do this again next year with the way their team's set up. I mean, they got everything you need to kind of be very relevant here for the next few years, or at least the recent future. And I just think for that, it'll be hard for him to walk away as well.
And the other side of it is this, too. I mean, I think he's going to be successful in anything he does after playing football, but there aren't a lot of jobs that are going to pay him $25 million or more per year. So squeeze out one more year of that, or two, or three, if you can.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.